What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Talking Blue. I'm your host, Nick. Today, we're going to recap the Dodgers and Tigers series that just finished. The Dodgers swept the Tigers Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It was a really fun series. We're going to get into all of it right now. Before we get started, please follow us at Talking Blue Pod on all social media. You can get this podcast on Apple Podcast, on Spotify. Follow us on the YouTube channel. You can like this video and subscribe. You can get all the notifications when new videos drop. I wanted to give a quick shout out to at VIP Chuck on Instagram. I'm going to tag him in the video and in the description. If you're into sports cards and baseball cards, it's the place for you. You can go on his Instagram live, watch the live, get into the action, purchase baseball cards. If you're into that kind of thing, it's a really good place to go to. And I wanted to give a thanks to him and a shout out to him for being a part of this video. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's get right into the action. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see I'm wearing my gold Dodgers jersey. Of course, the Dodgers got their rings this weekend. They wore their gold jerseys. This is my jersey from the 2020 season, so not the exact one that they were wearing, but I thought I would honor them and wear my jersey. It looked really nice. I thought, really quick, my thoughts on the new jersey that they made. It was a little different lettering than mine. It was all gold instead of gold outline. I didn't like it at first when it first dropped, but when I saw it on the field, I actually thought it looked really good. So that was really cool to see. So let's get into game one that happened on Thursday. It was Blake Snell versus Tarek Skubal, who is probably the best pitcher in the game right now. Two lefties, two former Cy Young lefties going at it. It was really exciting. So we're going to get into that right now. We're going to skip ahead to the bottom of the second inning where Tommy Edman hit a solo home run to put the Dodgers up 1-0. Of course, Tommy Edman, we've talked about it before, hitting right-handed against left-handed pitching. He's basically Aaron Judge. Skip ahead to the top of the fourth inning where the Tigers got on the board. Blake Snell had a couple walks in this inning. The bases were loaded with 2 outs. A wild pitch that got away from Will Smith allowed the first run to come in, go to the top of the fifth. The Tigers got some more base runners on, and Manuel Margot brought in Riley Green on a sac fly, made it 2-1 Tigers. We'll skip ahead to the bottom of the fifth inning. The Dodgers had some runners on base. Teoscar Hernandez come up. They are down 2 runs, and Teoscar Hernandez hit a 3-run home run. It was crushed off of Tarek Skubal to put the Dodgers up 4-2. It was a big home run with 2 outs. Teoscar did that a lot last year. Skip ahead to the top of the seventh. Spencer Torkelson came up, hit a solo home run off Alex Vesia. This ball was launched. Made it a 4-3 game. The Dodgers still up 4-3. Bottom of the seventh, Shohei Ohtani hit his second home run of the year already. It was a nice opposite field home run to the other way. Skip ahead to the top of the eighth. Kerry Carpenter, a nice sac fly to bring in Zach McKinstry, former Dodger, to make it 5-4. But the Dodgers would hold on to the game. Blake Trinan came in to the ninth inning to get the save, left a couple runners on base to keep it 5-4. Dodgers get the win. It went Blake Snell for 5 innings, Ben Casparis for 1, Alex Vesia for 1, Tanner Scott for 1, Blake Trinan for 1. Like I said, he pitched the ninth and got the save. Blake Snell, his final line, 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, only 2 strikeouts. Not a bad debut for Snell in the home opener. We're going to get into Blake Snell, talk about how he looked in this game. For those of you who may be new to Blake Snell, He has a very specific way that he pitches. If you have never seen him, you may know from hearing about him in his days in Tampa. He's been a very peculiar pitcher in his day. He is not a pitcher that goes deep into the games. He is not a pitcher that I would say limit walks. He gets a lot of strikeouts. He kind of nibbles a lot in the zone, and sometimes that leads to long innings, which leads to, him not going so deep into the game. He's one of the best pitchers at pitching with runners in scoring position. That's why he is able to pitch around all the walks that he allows. So if you're not new to him, that's his style of pitching. He doesn't attack hitters right away necessarily. He's not afraid to walk guys because he's really good with runners on base. He gets a lot of strikeouts, which, like I said, leads to him not going deep into games. He's really a pitcher that's 5 1/3, 6 innings, 6 1/3, stuff like that. That's why last year when Blake Snell threw his first career no-hitter, it was the first time he ever pitched into the 9th inning in his career. And this is a guy who's won 2 Cy Youngs. He's a really interesting pitcher. You're going to see a lot of Blake Snell, a lot of outings like that where he has a lot of long innings. It's just his style of pitching. He's really good, like I said, with runners in scoring position, so it happens. He didn't look too great in the game. Didn't look horrible. Just wanted to get into some of his numbers. He threw 92 pitches. Didn't get a ton of strikeouts in the game. His velocity was basically where it's always at, averaging 95. Curveball looked really good. One thing I just wanted to note about Blake Snell, they talked about in spring training adjusting his changeup and maybe using that more. He's really been a pitcher throughout his career who's always gone four-seam, curveball, slider, occasional changeup. But it seems like the Dodgers have toyed around with his changeup and maybe are encouraging him to throw it a little bit more. And I just wanted to note, in 2024, Blake Snell threw his changeup 18% of the time. And in this game, it was up to 27%. So we increased the usage on the changeup in this start, which is pretty interesting. So he didn't look too bad. Like I said, in Blake Snell's starts where he looks a lot better, you'll see him not have as much long innings, and it'll be a more efficient start. But I thought he looked pretty good. Like I said, didn't get too much swing and miss. And it'll be a note to look at going forward. How does he use the changeup more? Like I said, it increased a little bit in this first start. And that's cool to see because he's really been fastball, curveball a lot of the time. Like I said, this is a guy who's won 2 Cy Youngs, so he's always trying to get better. The Dodgers maybe look at his changeup as a pitch that he could increase. So like I said, in this game, Tommy Edman hit a home run. He looked really good in the series. We'll get to him throughout the series a little bit more. Like I said, hit the home run against Tarek Skubal, who's definitely the best lefty in baseball right now and is probably the best pitcher in the game right now. Won the Cy Young last year. He crushed that ball. Teoscar Hernandez also homered off of Tarek Skubal, like I said. He also crushes left-handed pitching. That's how he's always been throughout his career. That was a big home run with 2 outs. Teoscar, we'll talk about in the other games, also had some big 2-out hits. He's also looked pretty good in right field, going from left field to right this year. Last year played left field. Then I just wanted to note in this game, Tanner Scott and Blake Treinen. It has been said that Tanner Scott would get the majority of opportunities in the 9th inning, but you know that the Dodgers, the way they like to mix and match, would likely use Scott sometimes in the 8th inning, and I thought it was interesting they used him in this game in the 8th, Blake Treinen in the 9th. I think that's something you'll see going forward where based on some lefties coming up and righties coming up, who will come in the 8th and the 9th. Tanner Scott's obviously lefty, so they use him against lefties. And it's been kind of interesting. He hasn't looked that good so far, Tanner Scott. His velocity seems to be a little bit down, has gotten hit around a little bit, a little that's been a little bit unlucky so far, but it's really early. I'm not going to give too much numbers on relievers after one series. So that was the first game. If you didn't watch, like I said, the Dodgers win 5-4, win the home opener. Close game. The Tigers look like a good team. They battled back throughout the entire game, but the Dodgers were able to get the win. So we will go ahead and move on to game 2, which was actually the ring night where the Dodgers got their ring and received their rings. It was Yoshinobu Yamamoto, the Dodgers ace. You know, I am his biggest fan right now. He would be taking on Jack Flaherty, old friend of the Dodgers. I'm going to talk about him in a sec, but we will go ahead and move on to game 2, where we will skip ahead to the top of the second inning, where the Tigers catcher Dylan Dingler started the scoring off with a solo home run off of Yamamoto as a splitter left up in the zone. Tigers up 1-0, go to the top of the third, where Gleyber Torres now also took Yamamoto deep. This pitch was way inside. It was kind of impressive that Gleyber Torres was able to hit it over the fence. The ball was way inside. I don't even know how he got the barrel to the ball. It was really impressive. Put the Tigers up 2-0. We'll skip all the way ahead to the bottom of the 6th inning. Dodgers were held scoreless by Jack Flaherty, who looked good in this game. Freddie Freeman, with Mookie Betts on base, home run to dead center to tie the game at 2 apiece. Got a hanging curveball, hit it out to dead center, left center-ish. Really nice piece of hitting. Skip ahead to the bottom of the 8th inning. Mookie Betts with 2 outs in the 8th inning with a tie game. Solo home run to left center. Really good to see from Mookie. Obviously, we know he was dealing with the illness. They were talking about on the broadcast how he's big into recording his bat speed. And Mookie, it's really important for Mookie, considering Mookie's a smaller guy who doesn't necessarily hit a lot of long home runs. And he really needs every inch of that bat speed, every mile an hour, because a mile an hour down is 7 feet lost. That's what they said on the broadcast. I think that's really interesting. I'd like to dig into that more. So it's really important for him to have his bat speed as high as he can get it, because Mookie doesn't hit balls that go out by that much. So he needs all the bat speed he could get to get the ball over the fence. This ball was hit 95 miles an hour off the bat. Just got over the fence. Put the Dodgers up 3-2. So in this game, Blake Trinan now comes in for the save. And really quickly, let me just switch things up. 3-2 game. So Trey Sweeney led off the 9th with a single. I just wanted to note Tommy Edman, how many great plays. I talked about his bat so far a lot this year. He was playing second base in this game. With a runner on first, there was a ground ball hit to Muncy. Tried to turn 2. Made a little bit of a bad throw. Tommy Edman picked the ball from going into center field to keep the force out, to get the first out of the inning at second base. Then the next batter, Javier Baez, hit a ball up the middle. He went to the right of second base, made a sliding play up the middle, all like I said, on the other side of second base, threw the runner out at first. It was a great play for the second out. A really long throw, almost, the shortstop side of second base. So now, runner on second base, 2 outs. Dodgers Tanner Scott trying to nail down the save. Manuel Margot up, who hits lefties well, singles to left field with 2 outs to tie the game. So a blown save for Tanner Scott. Then Riley Green comes up to bat with Manuel Margot on first, lines the ball into the corner. Manuel Margot tried to score all the way around first. The throw beat him on the relay, but he was able to get around the tag. Tommy Edman also made a pretty good throw. He was originally called safe. It looked like he was safe. This was the big controversy in the game. They ended up reviewing it and overturning it. It did appear that Barnes' glove swiped Margot's leg, but it was, I got to be honest, pretty shocking that they overturned it, considering it was one of those plays where it didn't seem like there was too much evidence, which they're big into. You need a lot of substantial evidence to overturn the call, and I was really surprised. The Dodgers were kind of lucky that this play was overturned to keep it 3-3 to going into the top of the 10th. So I just wanted to note Tommy Edman, like I said, made the great play with his glove to pick the ball, pick the bad throw Max Muncy made to keep the force out, made the really nice sliding play on the other side of second base. Then on the relay, makes a great throw to throw out Manuel Margot at the plate. So Tommy Edman just doing it all in this series. So the Dodgers didn't score in the bottom of the ninth. Go ahead to the top of the 10th, where Dylan Dingler, who is now just killing the Dodgers, homered earlier in the game, like I said. With 2 outs, Luis Garcia was pitching for the Dodgers in the 10th inning. 2 runners on base. He hit a line drive to left field. Michael Conforto dove and missed it, so ended up being a triple, driving in 2 runs to put the Tigers up 5-3. Dodgers later got out of the inning. Michael Conforto made up for it with a ground rule double into the left field corner. That made it 5-4. The Dodgers are now down 1 run. Will Smith came up, singled to left field, which tied the game, made it 5-5. Like I said, we're in extra innings. After an Ohtani single, Mookie Betts comes up and, of course, hits a walk-off home run to left field, walk-off 3-run homer. Final score, 8-5. So the Dodgers have another comeback win. It was an exciting win. So far, it's the game of the year in this young season. Really quickly, Yamamoto's final line. Yamamoto 5 innings, Anthony Banda 1 inning, Kirby Yates 1 inning, Alex Vesia 1 inning, Tanner Scott 1 inning, Luis Garcia 1 inning. Yamamoto goes 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, like I said, on the 2 home runs, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts in this game. He looked really dominant for 5 innings. Really quickly, before we get into Yamamoto, I just wanted to pay homage to Jack Flaherty, who was a big story for the Dodgers last year. Obviously, they acquired him via trade. He was a hometown guy, got so much press and got so much, attention for being from Los Angeles. Dodgers don't win the World Series without him, and I think it's just so unique how baseball works. He re-signs with the Tigers, and it just so happens that their home opener is in LA against the Dodgers. So not only does Flaherty get to get his ring right away, he gets to pitch on ring night, gets his ring the following night. I just think that's really cool how it all worked out like that. And he actually looked really good against the Dodgers, had 5 strikeouts, like I said. The 2 earned runs on the 2-run homer from Freddie Freeman. Pitched 5 2/3, looked really good. He's going to be really good for the Tigers. He's a really good guy. He's really fun to watch. He really mixes up his pitch as well. So we'll get into Yamamoto, who once again is the Dodgers ace and looked really good in this game. So, Yamamoto, so we've talked about how his velocity has been increasing. It didn't so much increase or stay at that increase, I'd say, in this game. He was back to averaging more about 95. Earlier in the game, he was up to 96, 97 regularly, but as the game went on, he was back down to 94, 95, which is okay. No, you don't have to average 97 for the entire start. I do think his velocity will continue to increase and sit for the year around 96 instead of 95. But Yamamoto in this game, like I said, had 10 strikeouts, had 17 whiffs in the game through 91 pitches, and a pretty massive number in this game. Yamamoto, just trying to find the swing and miss numbers right here. His splitter had a 71% whiff rate in this game. That is massive. 71% of the time, his splitter got a swing and miss. He looked really dominant. Like I said, the first home run he gave up was just an 0-2 splitter right down the middle, a mistake pitch. The other home run that Gleyber Torres hit was a fastball way inside that somehow he hit out. He looked incredible again, continued to look really good. So the velocity didn't necessarily stay at 96, but the splitter continued to look explosive, getting a lot of swings and misses. Yamamoto, just wanted to look at this again really quick. He did continue the splitter increase, where I said he was previously at about 24% throwing the splitter. That's what he was at in 2024. And in this game, he threw it about 32% of the time. So He continued the increase in the splitter. The splitter just looks so good. He's getting a ton of swings and misses. I said it earlier that I think Yamamoto will be a top 3 finisher in the Cy Young. I think he's going to continue that this year. I think that's still going to continue. Like I said, he looked so good in this game. Tons of swings and misses, looked really dominant. So that was really good to see. Then I just wanted to talk about Mookie Betts really quick. Obviously, had the 2 home runs. He was the hero of the game. Obviously, also Freddie Freeman went deep in this game. We'll talk about him later. But Mookie Betts, it was really nice to see him come back and look good. Haven't seen a ton of him at shortstop. He hasn't had a lot of balls hit to him. But with the bat, it was nice to see, him hit those 2 home runs. Obviously, he's a really clutch player, and he always has. It's always fun to see him come up in those big moments and show the emotion that he showed. He was super excited. That it really stunk for him to miss some of the games early in Tokyo, and he was dealing with the illness. So it was just so fun to see him hit that walk-off home run. He's looked good so far to start the season. A lot of guys look really good with the bat, including him. He's obviously so important to the team, hitting in this 2 spot. He's off to a really good start. That's really good to see. So we're going to go ahead now. We'll go ahead and get into Game 3. One of the big games. So this was, of course, Saturday night. Roki Sasaki making his home debut against Reese Olson. We'll go ahead and talk about this game really quickly. Roki Sasaki early on, everybody knows by now, didn't have the command. He threw 41 pitches in the first inning. It was a grind to get out of that first inning. He had Zach McKinstry started the game off with a single. Then he proceeded to get a strikeout, another single, then a pop-up. So he's got 2 outs in the inning, but a walk would load the bases. Manuel Margot came up, hit a little swinging bunt down the third base line. Not really Sasaki's fault. Nothing you can do about that. But then he proceeded to walk the next batter, Trey Sweeney, which now puts the Tigers up 2-0. He ended up getting out of the inning, but like I said, 41 pitches. He just looked like he was kind of lost, couldn't make the adjustments, and so we're going to get into the rest of the game. Freddie Freeman in the bottom of the first inning crushed a home run to right field to make it 2-1 Tigers. It was funny. I was walking into my room actually as the ball was flying out of the stadium, and I thought Max Muncy hit that ball or something because Freddie usually doesn't hit balls that far. But that's really good to see. That shows that he's healthy. Michael Conforto came up in the bottom of the second inning, doubled down the line that scored Andy Paz to tie the game up. Skip ahead to the 5th inning, where it is 2-2 tie game. Teoscar Hernandez hits a double down the left field line that brings in 2 to make it 4-2. So now Dodgers are up 4-2. 6th inning, Will Smith hits a home run to left field. We talk about my prediction in the last podcast I made with him. Dodgers are up 5-2. Tigers would answer back 5-3, an RBI single from Zach McKinstry. It was really Luis Garcia was on the mound, didn't cover first base when the ball was hit to Freddie at first. Kind of unfortunate, but sometimes that happens. Tommy Edman now hitting from the right side in the bottom of the 7th, hits a home run to dead center. That's good to see considering that he has huge splits from both sides of the plate to see him hit one out. Freddie Freeman also doubled into the corner to make it 7-3, so he continues to look really good. And that would be the final score. Kirby Yates came in and pitched. He's looked really good. And the Dodgers win a final score, 7-3, sweep the Tigers, sweep the first series. Like I said, Roki Sasaki, 1 2/3, Jack Dreyer, 1 1/3, Ben Kasparius, 1 inning, Anthony Bonda, 1 inning, Luis Garcia, 2 innings, Kirby Yates, 1 inning, Blake Trinan, 1 inning. So Roki Sasaki's final line, 1 2/3. He gave up 3 hits, 2 earned runs. He walked 4 batters, only had 2 strikeouts. He threw 6. Let me check. He threw 61 pitches. It was a rough start to see. His body language did not look great. He looked emotionally, looked out of it. He looked like he couldn't adjust with his mechanics, couldn't find the zone. He looked defeated out there. The velocity was down a dip, where he was averaging 97 in his first start against the Cubs in Tokyo. In this game, he was averaging 96. He maxed out at 100 last game. In this game, he only maxed out at 97. So the velocity was down. And the biggest thing I have noticed about Sasaki is, so far, the approach against him seems to not swing at the non-fastballs, the splitter and the slider. He increased the usage on the slider in this game. In the first game in Tokyo, Roki Sasaki only threw his slider 7% of the time. He basically goes 66%, four seam, 27% splitter, 7% slider. In this game, it was 25% splitter, 21% slider. So the slider increased a lot from 7% to 21%. That's a big jump. It was noticeable early in the game. He was throwing a lot of sliders. I don't know if his approach was that he doesn't want to be necessarily a two-pitch pitcher, so he tried to bring in a third pitch. His splitter is really good, though, but that seemed to be the approach. But I just wanted to note that in this game against the Tigers, he had 25 swings against him. So 25 swings, 25 times they swung the bat against him. Only 9 of those were against off-speed pitches. 16 of them were all fastballs. So the approach was clearly to take those pitches, not chase the nasty splitter, not chase the nasty slider. And when you're also not throwing your fastball for strikes and nothing is finding the strike zone, that's going to lead to a ton of walks and just a recipe for a bad outing. So clearly Sasaki needs to hone in on his mechanics in the fastball command, because if they're not going to respect the splitter and they're going to not swing at that pitch, you're going to have to be forced to get your fastball in the zone. And he has to make a lot of changes, clearly. I still believe in him. Nobody should come off as Sasaki. He's got a lot of promise in him. He's got a lot of great stuff. He looks like he's going to be really good. He's just has some growing pains he's going to have to get through. Yamamoto went through it last year. Pitchers go through this stuff when they come over here. He's a really young guy. He looked really defeated in the dugout, which sucks to see, but I believe in him, and I think he's going to come back better from this. He's going to pitch against the Phillies next weekend. So I really, really would like to see what his approach is. Does he bring the slider usage back down, increase the splitter? What is his approach? He's got to get in the zone more. He's got a good fastball. He's obviously got the insane splitter. He's just got to make some adjustments, and I think he'll be okay. But he did not look good in this game. There's no question. But the Dodgers were able to prevail. Like I said, I just wanted to talk about Kirby Yates really quick. He's looked really good in a Dodger uniform so far. Like I said, I don't want to talk too much about relievers, considering that they have not pitched much, but 3 innings so far. He's already got 7 strikeouts. He's looked really good. His fastball basically sits 93 with the splitter, like so many Dodgers have now. He's got a K percent of 70% early on, so that's really crazy. He's going to be one of their high leverage guys. He's 38 years old, and he's been a really good reliever for a really long time now, including last year where he was with the Rangers, and he had the lowest ERA in baseball, actually, and gets a ton of strikeouts. So he's looked really good early on, which is really good for the Dodgers, of course. Then we'll close up the series and talking about some of the players with Freddie Freeman. He's got 2 home runs already, which is really interesting. I talked about how earlier he hit that second home run that was in this game in the bottom of the first inning. That ball was crushed, which is really good to see from Freddie. We know that he didn't play in the Tokyo series because of the rib. He was obviously dinged up last year. It will be really cool to see what Freddie does this year. If you're a Dodger fan, you know that his first 2 years with the Dodgers were 2 of the best seasons he's had in his career, really. He put up really crazy numbers. like his numbers ticked up, honestly, from when he was with Atlanta. And last year he dealt with the off-field stuff with his son, and he had a couple of injuries, and his numbers were a little bit down. They were still really good, but just a little bit down from those first 2 years. So it's good to see him get off to a hot start. And really, a lot of the guys in the lineup, it's already good. It's good to already see Mookie Betts with 2 home runs. Shohei has 2 home runs. Tommy Edman has 3 home runs. Freddie has 2 home runs. Teoscar has 2. Will Smith has a home run. And I believe that is it. We have not seen Muncy homer. But a lot of guys, it's really good because you don't want to look up in 3 weeks or so and not see that you have a home run or something like that and make you start to panic that you're getting off to a slow start. So it's good to see a lot of the guys in the lineup are getting off to a good start. So that's pretty much going to wrap up the 3 games. Like I said, Dodgers win all 3 games. They were all really good games. Really, the one negative from the series was Sasaki and him being pretty disappointing in that first home start. Like I said, just got to make a couple of adjustments to his off-speed pitches, I think. And really, he's just got to get the fastball in the zone. Once he has the fastball command, then they have to honor the other pitchers. But when you can't throw the fastball for strikes, nobody's going to chase the splitter or the slider. Once they see out of your hand that it's an off-speed pitch, they're just going to automatically take it. He's walked way too many guys. I think he'll come back better, no question about it. So, looking ahead, the upcoming week, the Dodgers will play the Braves. 3 games, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It will be Tyler Glasnow, game 1. Dustin May will make his first start in almost 2 years on Tuesday, and then we'll see Blake Snell again on Wednesday. That's a really interesting series. The Braves, up until this point, up until they've played the Sunday night game, they're winless on the season, so they're going to come in and really try to get a win. So that's going to wrap it up today for the podcast for this review. Thank you all for joining. Like I said earlier, you can get this podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can get all the notifications. Like I said, a big thanks to VIP Chuck. If you're into baseball cards, check out his Instagram Live, and you can get into all the action, all the stuff that he has on his Instagram. Follow us on social media at Talkin' Blue Pod, and we will see you guys at the conclusion of the Dodgers-Braves series this week.